Hi, I'm reading from Färjan, The Ferry in English, by me, Tomas Berglund. We're on the eighth episode. Then I had a period when I started studying at the university, and that's where I got to know a bunch of friends. Jan, Peder, Arne. Jan is down in Falun, and both Peder and Arne live now in Gothenburg. So I've been down to Gothenburg a lot when I was a student. We've gone to the opera and had a lot of fun down there. We sailed to Marstrand one summer, and I managed to get way too drunk. But there were still nice memories from that party. All the different parties we've been to. I didn't get drunk at all the events. I often kept to myself. I stayed within limits. Then came the time after my studies. I started working as a research student at the university, and eventually I moved out to the house in Sunderbyn. I started hanging with my cousin Tom and my friend Lars-Ove. It was a wonderful time with lots of film, and more film. I don't know how many films we've seen together. It's an uncountable number. I remember very well how I came to Lars-Ove and we chose a film for that particular evening. And then I just had to crawl down in my part of the sofa, and we got going. Smilla often worked on her horses late at night, so she was most busy with that. No, it was a wonderful time. Anders and I have been best friends since the end of high school. Now he and Maria have a house in Piteå and a house in Luleå, and a lot of time is spent taking care of the houses and the children and the dog bark boy. They usually live in Luleå and Anders works in Piteå. The most extensive contact Anders and I have today is that he calls me either on his way down to Piteå or on his way up from Piteå. We managed to talk about quite a lot during those half-hour-long conversations. What's happening? What's going on? Is there anything extra fun or boring? It often gives me a lot to talk to Anders, and I think it might be a little outlet for him. We're talking about our lives right now. Most of the time it's about things that are happening in Anders' life. When I think about it, there's not much going on in my life. I've slept more or less well, and then I'm somewhere in the middle of writing. It's not always that interesting to talk about. Anders runs his family business, and there's usually a lot to tell. Now they've just set the salaries, and they are building a housing in Piteå. Anders now has an employee who helps as a manager. I think it's very nice for Anders to have another one that has come in. It was much more of a solo job before, more or less difficult to describe. Anders, oh how I love Anders. Just know that he is precious for me. I just need to hear his voice. I have nothing more to ask for. And I think it's good that we don't have any needs involved in each other. There are no demands from either mine or Anders' side. It's a clean house. We used to be drinking buddies, but since 2008, I haven't drunk. Our relationship kind of entered a different phase. And I think it was good. We still have the kindness and thoughtfulness and the love for it. Sometimes I feel like it's a shame that I'm as poor as I am. I notice that Anders and Maria sometimes think in bigger terms. I can't think in such big terms as Maria and Anders do. It could be a box full of food for a whole week from some producer with recipes. Once I'm with Anders, I realize that I would never be able to keep up with their expenses. They need their salaries, even though I think they've paid off their loans pretty hard. And what you're supposed to do if you have money, other than not to use the money. I think they've traveled a lot south, at least 4 times in the past year. I don't have that opportunity. It's not on the map. Possibly once. If I could have traveled, I would have done it. Lars-Ove is my other best friend. I'm just saying this is my other, nothing more. But for many years in Sunderbyn, he and I watched a new movie basically every night. I drove the bumpy road and we lay on the couch on each side and just enjoyed it, floated away. So many movies and such short life. It was just to indulge. We lived movies, before and without. Then it turned out that things weren't so good between Lars-Ove and Smilla. It ended. Then Lars-Ove himself went through a period. I moved to Gransale and we hung out less. Lars-Ove met Sanna, a new era began. And then the boys came into the picture. Lars-Ove and Sanna became parents. Sometime recently I have been thinking about my relationship with Lars-Ove, how interested I have felt that he has been cultivating our relationship, but Lars-Ove is not the one that I have planned my life with anyway. We have kind of just hung out when it has been convenient. We have called each other when it's been convenient, and then we have heard when it has been convenient the next time. A very undemanding community. It has been as nice as can be. I feel that it is still largely that way. There is a little more planning. Sanna needs a little buffer and the boys demand their share. By the boys I mean Nils and Liam. It became a little different when the boys came into the picture. Lars-Ove and Sanna are very interested in gardening. They have a fantastic garden outside their house. There are so many varieties of plants that I don't have a chance to try to describe or cover even a fraction of them, from large to small. Some plants produce fruit or berries. Some are just there as a representative of a certain genus, if I understand it correctly. From what I understand, Lars-Ove prefer that the plants or bushes do without special irrigation, and this is rather stubborn requirement. I don't know if all plants can do without extra irrigation. We'll see. You'll see when it comes down to it. The other day I got a call from one of my best friends, Jan, who now lives down in Falun. My birthday is on April 17th and he is on April 18th. So he calls me usually on the 16th because he thinks that that's when I turn older. But we have to correct the whole thing. It doesn't matter. It just happened this way. He's 2 years older than I am, so when we lived in a student dormitory, we celebrated a birthday together. It was a real party. We called the party the White Cane because we drank homemade brandy and you could go blind. Well, we had a fantastic time together. We took a winter mountain course together, among other things. Jan is one of the few people that I come closest to in my life than any friend that I have around me. Jan sees the things I do and I see the things he does. We dig each other. We often have the same kind of reaction when we're faced with new situations. It never goes wrong, and it's been many years since we last saw each other. But it's like coming home when I talk to Jan on the phone. There's such warmth. I had almost forgotten these people I saw during my studies at Piteå University of Technology. Peder and Arne, I should have called or write them. It's been so long since we have heard from each other. There is a special friend, Bjarne, that I don't want to or can't forget. We got to know each other when we played Quake Team Fortress at university. He knows me very well, almost too well sometimes. He can almost predict what I will choose to do based on a given situation. Bjarne is smart, really smart. He's extremely good at computers. He has taught me so much about, for example, the Windows operating system. He works quite a lot, though. He knows that he works a lot, but he stays on the right side of the limit. It doesn't get too much, but almost. There is a constant pressure. I think I'll call Jens. I like to follow him. He's also bipolar. Now it was up. Maybe not up worse, but up. And it's hard not to be happy when things feel good. I wish I had some sensible advice to give him, but I don't. Maybe he should keep an eye on his sleep, because when he gets up, he sleeps less and needs sleep help with sleeping pills. Then when he's down, he's basically sleep all on his own. But it's so basic. Think about sleeping. Of course, you think about sleeping, or do you? Really? Do you sleep well? Can you sleep well during a certain period? I called Jens. I wanted to hear how he was, and he says he's depressed, and I can understand him. I listened to his description of what it's like, and it's not fun, but still he continues to go on events like chess and review and so on. I could never have done it. I would never have had energy for it. Then he's been working all day. Actually, it's pretty incredible what he can do. Sometimes I think that maybe he can't go as deep as and as high as I can do, but I don't know. I may never know. When I'm at my worst, I can't do much. I just can't. It falls away. For Jens, it fluctuates with about 2 weeks' notice, maybe a month's notice, but more likely every 2 weeks' notice. So then it's up and down, and then it takes 2 + 4 olanzapine, Suprexa, and still knocked to sleep, and then it calms down, and then it turns it over to the depressive side. Then I think he takes less olanzapine, and he can sleep without Silnoct. And then it turns over to the other way again. And I don't understand Jens. I haven't learned to read how he feels. I usually ask, how is it now? And then he tells me how he feels. And then I can feel that I have a good thing that has a created balance in the long term. Suddenly, the chess club calls. It's not Jens, it's Jan Håkan. He wants to ride to and from Godiskompaniet. Jan Håkan is economical. He knows that the liter of diesel costs 24 Swedish kronor. He knows what a half insurance costs. He knows, but because he has had it, and he has opted out to it of it. He says, I have no reason to doubt that he has a driver's license. He very well may have. There may be very well be financial incentives that means that he doesn't have a car anymore. He says that he used to be taken advantage of by those who asked him to drive here and there. It wasn't fun to be taken advantage of course. I don't want to be taken advantage of either. I'll count Jens and Jan Håkan among my new friends in Älvsbyn and from the chess club. That's how we got to know each other. It's strange, but sometimes you get the feeling that you're a new friend. You haven't been friends for a long time. You're a little more cautious than you would be with old friends. Don't you think like me? Maybe you could think like this. What was her name? What was his name? Yeah, he, he was tricky in that way. I understand. And she thought about it like that. Think how deceived you can be. How happy I am to be your friend, when with everything what that means. I sometimes think of my friends as relatives, like when you look at the phone book on your mobile phone. Everyone is lined up there, friends, relatives, partners, neighbors, and acquaintances, first sorted by the last name and then by the first name. I'm so happy with my phone list, because it shows who I know, who I can call or send a message to. It's a treasure. Johannes has a bunch of friends. I know some of them: Peder's sister Marie, Alex, the neighbor, Carolina, who I got to know in psychiatry. In most cases, it is through psychiatry or the employment service that I have mutual acquaintances. Johannes is more with Carolina than I am. I can be a bit background person. I know the people, but I don't know them the way he does. They're not my friends from the start, but there seems to be a pretty strong and pretty close knit group there at the residence, and among the more or less sick people who know each other, a real group. I have collected my friends throughout my life. It has taken a long time to build up the network of friends and acquaintances that I, in a way, lean on. Leaning on doesn't sound so good. It sounds a bit dull, like I don't have to do anything anymore. Because I do. I call and write my friends. I work on friendship, all friendship, trying to stay updated. Sometimes I miss a friend extra much and then I get in touch with them. Just tonight I miss Lars-Ove and Sanna and their family. A little bit of Anders and Maria and their family. They are all so wonderful. New chapter, Johannes. Can't you imagine coming by today? Johannes gets in touch by phone and wants to see me earlier than next Wednesday. I haven't done my analysis of why he wants to see me earlier. Is it because he wants to do some shopping at the supermarket, or is he craving a luxury shake at Max? Nothing is clear, or does he just want to meet me, be with me more than is the case? What are we really talking about? Some about my illness, bipolar type 1, some about my life and his diagnosis, high functioning Asperger's. I wish he could meet nice people out there. He's both fragile and strong at the same time. I can't judge Johannes, I simply don't know enough. Maybe I know Johannes too little. He gives me something to think about on several levels. When I first hear what Johannes says, I can react a little. What is he really thinking about? But then I can suddenly feel, is this how he thinks? Uh, it's like a light goes on. I understand that he asks because he wants to know, even though may seem like a strange question, or like strange questions that he asks. A high-functioning Asperger doesn't necessarily have to be particularly sensitive. On the contrary, he may cross certain boundaries that others respect. Johannes is probably high-functioning, but it only takes a glance, a moment, to see that something is not quite right with him. Johannes often wears outdated clothes, preferably sweatpants, and he holds himself as if he is freezing. He looks a bit like Gargamel the wizard in the Smurfs. Nothing on top, but then hair on the back and sides. Shall we go and buy milkshake? He asks cheerfully when he gets into the car. Sometimes he smells bad. Sometimes it's just his mouth that smells bad. He hasn't brushed his teeth in a few days. It's an incomparable stench. I sometimes ask him if he has showered, etc. I've started to think that maybe it's just easy for someone else to judge me the same way I judge Johannes. Why couldn't it be that way? I send out signals that have no idea about. If I'm short or tall, happy or sad, tired or energetic, it might show in my body language, or it does. Of course, it's not a question of anything else. It might show that I'm more or less dizzy. The interview in the car. How many times have you been admitted to the psychiatric hospital? maybe 40 to 50 times. Wow, how many times have you had psychosis? About the same number of times. That's incredible. Does that sound strange? I don't know. For me, it's happened once, and then I don't even know if I had a psychosis. Are you afraid of going psychotic? Well, of course, aren't you? Yes, but it's happened so many times that you almost get used to it. You now, you know there's a way out. But psychosis is a cliche. It's mostly that I was stressed out. I didn't know where I was going to live. Of course, it must have been stressful. You sometimes said, like, sure, surely I'm stupid. Did I do that? You did. Suddenly, surely I'm crap. But I never thought you were crap. I almost wanted, I just wanted someone to talk to, preferably someone on staff. You took my beard trimmer and shaved off large parts of the hair on your head. Well, I don't know what came to me.